I think he's going to make some big DOGE announcements today.
Elon Musk. He's been making a little news lately, hasn't he, though? Very positive news.
Well, Elon's
Stand up,
there.
Elon. He's a great guy. We did a little show last night. I heard they got very good ratings, too, by the way. We did. Hannity.
Trump loves his
Hannity
ratings.
was fantastic, a fantastic man, a fantastic guy, and he did a show, and it was great being on the show with you last night. I signed an order creating the Department of Government Efficiency and put a man named Elon Musk in charge. Thank you, Elon, for doing it. Thank you very much. And he's doing a great job. I wish you could have seen him last night. It's really, he's a very committed person. He's a very serious person. And he's a very high IQ people. I like high IQ people. Not all have to be, but, it'd be nice to have some people up there that he's a seriously high IQ individual. Now, he's got his faults also, I will tell you that. But not too many of them, which is now really waging war on government waste, fraud, and abuse. And
He has his own faults.
they're curbing inflation and saving taxpayers billions and billions of dollars every single day. And there's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the DOGE savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt, because the numbers are incredible,
What?
Elon. So many billions of dollars, billions, hundreds of billions.
See, 20%.
We're thinking about giving 20% back to the American citizens and 20% down to pay back debt and pay down debt, which is, if you look at value, if it were a real estate balance sheet, the debt is tiny, but we still want to pay it down.
Hold on a
Doesn't
second.
matter. We don't look at it as a piece of real estate. It's America. We're going to get it down through.
So you're going to take all of the waste, fraud, and abuse from America that American taxpayers funded. You're going to get it back. Did he just say that?
Paying down debt, because the numbers are incredible, Elon. So many billions of dollars, billions, hundreds of billions, and we're thinking about giving 20% back to the American citizens and 20% down to pay back debt and pay down debt, which is, if you look at value, if it were a real estate balance sheet, the debt is tiny, but we still want to pay it down.
So 20% back to the American
people. We
people.
don't look at it as a piece of real estate. It's America.
You're going to get a
We're
check?
Get it down through intelligence, hard work, and as Elon said, a word called caring. You have to care. By doing this, Americans will tell us where there's waste. They'll be reporting it themselves. They participate in the process of saving money. So many of the men and women in this room, as
incentives work. Turns out that then when you, like in socialist countries, when you take away incentives, people don't want to work. So what you're incentivizing the American people to do is to say, we're noticing that there's waste, fraud, and abuse here in this particular agency and department. They're going to report it to DOGE. And then that actually helps give money back to American taxpayers who foot the bill. Look, whenever I see that $36 trillion debt clock, and I think that my wife and I, we work really hard and we pay our taxes every quarter and we write that big ass check to the government, they spend it like that. It's gone. You can watch the debt clock. It's like the amount we just sent, it's gone. It's literally spent. They sent it to Pakistan for some trans hamster dance party. Who the hell knows? It's, like we're following the letter of the law, but these fraudsters in Washington just take our money and ship it to Ukraine, to a cocaine sniffing troll like Zelensky, who can't find, or his Ukrainian oligarchs went and bought homes in Monaco, which is what they did. It's devastating for Americans who work up until May or April and May of each year just to pay their taxes. And it goes to this kind of garbage, this DOGE garbage that's been uncovered, and just the very tip of it has now been uncovered. So they're going to give 20% back to the American people of this fraud? Okay.
an example, they pay tremendous amounts of taxes. And here are just a few examples of where your money was going before I came along. These are just some of the, just taken at random. Oh, there are much worse examples than this. I was just looking at them before the speech, and I can tell you they were much worse. And there are some that are horrible, but I don't want to really say them because they're very, very embarrassing to people. Very, very embarrassing. and they're really something, but you'll be seeing it and you will be reading about it. But just some taken at random, $2 million for sex change operations in Guatemala, $20 million for Sesame Street performances in Iraq. 20 million, that's a lot of money. You know, I know what it costs to do those things. You get a cast over for 50,000, give them a couple of bucks tip, and that's it, not 20 million. 20 million, that's Gone with the Wind on steroids. $101 million for 29 diversity, equity, and inclusion contracts at the Department of Education. Wow. And we've canceled all of these, saved all of this money. And again, this is just a small sample. This could go on. I could read them all day. $520 million for a consultant. I want to know, who is that consultant? To do ESG, that's environmental, social, and governance investments in Africa. $25 million to promote biodiversity, conservation, and illicit livelihoods by developing socially responsible behavior in Colombia. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of sedentary migrants. Nobody knows what that even means. None of this stuff, everyone's trying to figure out, what the hell does it all mean?
So we want to, all the illegal immigrants in the country, I know I joked about this the other day, but we want to take care of these sedentary migrants. So they're here illegally, and now we need to get them off the couch. We funneled billions to bring them here illegally, and now we want to also pay to find out why they're so lazy.
$42 million for social and behavior changes in Uganda. 40 million's a lot of newspaper ads in Uganda. $70 million for research of evidence-based solutions for development challenges. $10 million for Mozambique medical male circumcision. What does that mean? $2.3 million for strengthening independent voices in Cambodia. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $486 million to the Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strengthening, including $22 million for inclusive, participatory political process in Moldova.
Thank God.
And $21 million for voter turnout in India. What do we need to spend $21 million for voter turnout in India? Wow, $21 million. I guess they were trying to get somebody else elected. Wow, we ought to tell the Indian government, because when we hear that Russia spent about $2 in our country, it was a big deal, right? They took some internet ads for $2,000. This is a total breakthrough. $21 million for India elections. $29 million to strengthen the political landscape in Bangladesh. $20 million for fiscal federalism, and $19 million in addition to the $21 million for biodiversity conversion in Nepal. $1.5 million for voter confidence in Liberia. We need voter confidence too when you read this list. $14 million for social cohesion in Mali. $2.5 million for inclusive democracies in South Africa. $47 million for improving learning outcomes in Asia. Asia's doing very well. We don't need to give them money. And in another program, $50 million plus another $50 million for condoms for Hamas. You know about that? $100 million for condoms. Condoms. Does everybody know what a condom is? For Hamas. $100 million. And these are just some. I could read this list all day long. I just don't want to bore you. But these are just some, and not nearly as bad as others. And some are just, I just don't want to say them because they're too incendiary. We're also finding tremendous abuse, waste, and fraud in Social Security. Social Security is, what's happening there is going to be one of the great potential scandals in history.
Yeah.
On the program, there are over 4.7 million Social Security numbers from people from 100 years old to 109. Think of that. Now, over 100, there aren't a lot of people that make it. Hopefully, most of the people in this room will make it, but historically, you don't have thousands and thousands of people. But listen to this, 3.6 million people are on Social Security rolls from the age of 110 years old to 119. Do you think there are really that many? Those people are seriously old. But it gets worse. 3.47 million. 3.47 million people are on Social Security from the age of 120 years old to 129 years old. 3.9 million people are on the age of Social Security from 130 years old to 139 years old. Now, the all-time record.
So he went by this. Last night he talked about all these same numbers, but it's still stunning when you realize that millions of Americans who are in their 150-year-old range are receiving all this money, and people who are in their 200s. There was a funny meme today going around saying that Revolutionary War veterans are furious that Elon Musk is cutting their Social Security. Revolutionary War veterans. 250 years old.
I heard is a woman who was 127 years old. That's the record. A woman from a certain country where they have actually people that live pretty long, actually. And she was 127 years old. That's pretty old, but we're topping her by millions of people. 3.5 million people from the age 140 to 149 years old. 1.3 million people are on Social Security from the age 150 to 159. And over 130,000 people are on Social Security over the age of 160 years old, okay?
These are remarkable people.
Including 1,039 people. Think of it, over 1,000 people between the ages of 220 to 229. And one person between the age of 240 years old to 249. And the record topper, there is one person on Social Security who's 360 years old, which is approximately 110 years older than our country.
It's amazing.
So what we're trying to find out, and what we will find out, is are people being paid from all of these, somebody pocketing 10,000 here, 10,000 there, what's going on? So we'll find that out pretty easily because we have a lot of computer geniuses. I say.
Can you imagine? Like, there's people that have this gravy train, they've had it for years, Social Security fraud, and they've had it for years. They've had this money pouring in every month into their bank accounts. And it's, I don't know, maybe they've been handing it down to their family. Who knows? That gravy train is about to come to a resounding halt.